Hi, David. Thank you for joining me on the podcast. How are you doing?
Yeah, fantastic. Thanks for asking us. Yeah, very good. Thank you.
So, you're the founder of Manchester Guitar Project. What can you tell us about that?
Yeah, I think founder's probably not the right word. I think creator of the project. The dog's joining in. Um, yeah, it's been a collaborative effort right from the word go. I mean, and that's been a kind of a rolling thing because we've been doing it for about 4 years now. Um, as we were talking just before we come on air, we had something happen with me health wise, which kind of put a lot of spanner in the works, to say the least. But we've got quite a few people who aren't involved on a day-to-day basis now, but they put a lot of work in a few years ago. We've got other people who are working. It's been a real community effort, and it's definitely going to continue to be that. So yeah, it's great. Honestly, it's absolutely amazing. So.
So, when did it start? Like you said, it started 4 years ago, but how did it start and why did you want to do it?
So, so why I wanted to do it was I've been teaching for about 10 years. I had businesses before and all the rest of it, but I've been teaching for about 10 years, working with kids who've been kicked out of school permanently. So I was working with like 15, 16-year-olds in a key stage 4 people referral unit. And they were being warehoused, if I'm being honest. There wasn't much being done to actually help them. It was very frustrating. And there was a massive incident that happened at the school we were at. And we ended up with these 7 lads, and it was too dangerous for them to go to school. There was a huge gang fight. It was stabbing each other and all kinds of stuff going on. And it wasn't safe for them to come into the place where they were meant to be. It wasn't safe for them because they were sitting ducks. It wasn't safe for everybody else that was around them. And I remember being in a meeting where it was decided they just couldn't come here anymore. And it was like, okay. And then everybody's like packing up and moving on. And I'm like, well, hold on a minute. If they can't come here, where are they going to go? They're like, still got 7 or 8 months before they leave school. They're like 15, 16 years old. And nobody had any answers. So we ended up, me and a lad called Jaden Irving, we ended up getting a minibus, picking them up every morning, taking them and feeding them, because food's really important, giving them some food, taking them places, and then kind of feeding the soul a little bit for a couple of hours, taking them on and just doing that every single day. And the results were amazing. It was absolutely staggering. There was one lad, I can't mention his name, but everybody will know who I'm talking about and knows him. He was the most prolific thief in the borough that we lived in, and everybody was after him. We got a phone call from a community police officer called Schofield, bizarrely, not no relation, and she said, "We've had a meeting this morning, and where's let's call him Jim. Where's Jim?" I'm like, "What do you mean? Where he's with us now?" I'm like, we honestly thought he might have died because he's just dropped off the radar, and it was like just this penny just went, fucking hell, just his life just was transformed in the space of a few months of just getting constant attention. And because we were picking him up every morning, we're having a conversation with his family, and then we're developing a bit of a. Anyway, so long story short, we tried to set up a foundation, and did, and we built a gym, we built a music studio, which is still going independently, but it's going with one of the lads who was involved from the start, Sam Capper, which is called Feel Weird Studios, amazing place in Stretford. We built a community cafe, and it was like it needed money. It needed money, and somebody came along and said to me, "I've got this guitar. You can have it if you want it. I think you should get maybe 500 quid for it. It's brand new. It's a one-off." And I was like, "That's amazing, thank you." So it was Graham Reedy it was, and Graham still gave us this guitar, and I was like, I looked at it and thought, a lot of work gone into that. It's like a handcrafted, So it looked amazing. It was like a piece of art, really. But with handmade guitars, this might be an absolute load of crap, So I thought, let's have a listen to it. I took it to a studio of one of the guys, Den's place. And there's a guy called Samuel C. Lee's there, who's like an incredible guitarist, and he played it, and it was just unreal. He played it for about 7 or 8 minutes, and he just said, "It's cool. It's like, it's really, really cool. He said, look, he said, people in the industry know me, and they do. But I never wanted to be famous. In Manchester, you've got these famous guitarists, some are infamous, said some are really famous and not that good. Some are really good and not that famous. And in Manchester, you happen to have some that are really good and really famous. So if you get like A, B, or C to do what I've just done, film it, get them to endorse it, he said, I think you'll get like a couple, maybe $3,000 for this guitar, if it's been played by them. So I said, well, what if I got like A, B, and C to do it? What if I got all three of them to do what you've just done? What would a guitar be worth that's played by, you pick any three guitarists from Manchester that you can think of immediately? And he said, that guitar would be worth, what, played by all three of them and like video doing it, it'd be worth $6 or $7 easy, no problem, because what other guitar's been played by all them with that provenance? So me being a greedy bastard, I just said like, well, what if we got everyone to do it? What if we got everybody to play this one guitar, film them doing it, ask them about their life, ask them about Manchester, and called it Manchester's Guitar, what it'd be worth? And he went, well, it'd be fucking priceless. So I was like, right, let's do that then. So that's why it started. We thought we'd raise maybe 20, 30 grand or something with this guitar, and then we'd use it for our project. Anyway, it was a bit of a DIY. It was not a bit of a DIY. It was a lot of a DIY project. So we had like Nidge from Trust Fox Photography. You know, he's well known around Manchester. He's great music photographer. We had Sam Capper, music producer. We had Phil Brennan, who's an author, an interviewer, radio host, and all the rest of it. So we all came together, and we just reached out to people and said, look, can we come and film you? Can you play our guitar? And everyone just said yes. And it was so you have to think back, what was happening 4 years ago? And the answer is not a lot, because it was lockdown and it was all the rest of it. So Steve Diggle from Buzzcocks, who's one of my heroes, he just said, you'd have to come to me, but I'll play it for you, no problem. And I'll ring up a few of my mates and what have you. So he played Ever Fallen in Love by Buzzcocks on it. And it was amazing. And we thought, let's get everyone to play that. Let's get everyone to play what they're famous for, but also because most people who grew up around Manchester learned playing that song or similar songs to that, you know. And so that's what we've done. So everyone plays a little bit of what they're famous for. We play Ever Fallen in Love. And then we asked them about kind of Manchester, about music scene in Manchester, about Manx. And Phil asked these questions. He sort of said, bringing it back into what we were about. He said, when you first got going, and, you know, everyone in Manchester is either a right cocky bastard or filled with kind of imposter syndrome, or most likely got both, right? Imposters. But, you know, we're all riddled with doubt, aren't we, right? So with self-doubt. And he kind of said, so was there somebody who kind of helped you along when you got going? And everybody said yes. It was like, oh, yeah, no, if that person hadn't done that thing for us, we'd have been fucked. I mean, literally, we didn't know. Pete Shelley's name kept coming up, Buzzcocks, with the likes of, I don't want to spoil anything, but, you know, when we spoke to Peter Hook, for example, Joy Division, New Order, he talks about the fact that they didn't really know how to finish a song when they started. They kind of had some ideas about what they wanted to do with it, really good ideas as it turned out, but they needed a little bit of guidance. And Pete Shelley were like, well, do that, put that there, and he kind of arrange it for them in the pub. And you're like, fucking, that's amazing, you know. So, but it wasn't just like famous people helping out other famous people. There's one band which you'll find out eventually. And they talk about the fact that none of them could drive. So they had four people in a band who could play, but none of them could drive a car. So there was a guy who had a van who lived around the corner, said, well, I'll drive you to gigs. Jesus Christ, give me Charlie, fucking hell, man, give us a break. So yeah, so none of them could drive, right? So this guy said, well, tell you what, I want to get out of the house. So I'll drive you to rehearsal. I'll drive you to gigs. I won't drink. You just get me a bottle of whiskey on the way back, and then I'll have a sup when I get home. And it was like, right, that was the deal. So and he said, without that guy, we would never have got to rehearsals. We would never have got to a gig. We would have just fizzled out. So it was like amazing. So then Phil's follow-up question to this, was there somebody who helped you out, is what would have happened had that person not been? And the answer, all of them, it's amazing. They all throw their head back up. You know, like the police dramas when the copper goes, the body like, they all throw their head back up and go, I'd have been fucked. I couldn't do anything else. That was all I could do. So if I hadn't made it in music, I honestly don't know what I'd have done. You know what I mean? So they talk about, I'd have been stealing stuff, selling, and stuff they weren't very good at, you know. And they needed that person in their life. So I think the underlying theme of what we were doing, this kind of mentoring, this support and helping each other, knitted together this one guitar that everybody's played. There's competition in music, there's competition in everything, but there's a lot more collaboration, and people genuinely, creative people want to help each other. There's no question about it. So this kind of this collaboration became like an underlying theme of what we were doing, very important, and it kind of related back to where it all started from, which was us helping these lads who were getting involved with, you know, drugs and gangs and all the rest of it. So we just thought, well, if we make this into a documentary, we can make some money out of it one way or another. There's a lot of merchandise opportunities, and there's a huge amount of goodwill from the artists and themselves. So maybe we could make some money for good causes in and around Manchester. So every penny that comes from Manchester's Guitar is being funneled into men's mental health, which is a huge issue, youth projects, homelessness projects, and some really small, what kind of one-man band things like Darren, for example, just a lad who just goes to gangs and he shows them the scars when he got stabbed when he was a kid, and just says, look, if you've got a knife on you, just give it me. Give it me rather than somebody take it off you and somebody stab you with that knife. Now, for lads like him, he's doing, I'm not a religious person, he is. When he says he's doing the Lord's work, I agree. Yeah, don't believe in God, but I understand what he's saying. And everybody will applaud Darren. Everybody will go, oh, Darren, you're amazing. All the politicians will be like, they'll be all giving him a standing ovation. And then he says, I could just do with like some money to pay for the electric bills, because I've opened a little gym for them to come at where they can come free of charge. Yeah. Oh, you've opened the gym as well. That's amazing, Darren. Yeah, electric bill. So you need some money. So I've got to put my name on something which involves knives, dangerous shit. Yeah, I have to get back to you on that one, because the politicians don't want their name on it when it goes wrong. So things like what he's doing, they just never get funded. And that he's got family, he's got his own responsibilities, and like I said, he's doing the Lord's work. Well, we think to ourselves, well, Manchester's Guitar can raise money, and for the likes of Darren, if he needs like $2 or $3 grand a year just to pay his water and electric bill for that gym that he's letting kids go to for free, then let's find that money one way or another, and we can. So that's it. That's what we're doing. So. Yeah,
it all sounds brilliant what you're doing. It's fantastic. I really applaud you for that. But that's scandalous what you just said there about not being funded by the government, and you've got to do it. And you'd think that would be something as positive as that would fund it, wouldn't you?
So there is funding for stuff like that, but what they want you to do is to jump through 1,000 hoops, which is an administrative impossibility for someone like him. Not that he couldn't do it, but he'd never get anything else done, right? He'd never get the actual work done. And then also, and understandably, when there's public money involved, what they want is tick boxes, and they want charts, and they want to show progress. Well, quite honestly, one kid not killing another kid, one kid not stabbing another kid, you can't show that that's happened. You can't prove what's not happened. So it's very, very, very difficult to access that kind of funding that supports real stuff. And then what you tend to find is a lot of charities they'll get some funding, but because they're under pressure to have those, to be able to show those outcomes, they pick and choose the cases that they deal with. So they deal with people that they think they've got a chance of being successful with. And it's like, okay, I understand that, but it's the people who are working with the ones who've been written off, the ones that society's dropped. Those are the ones that I'm interested in. Those are the people who need real help. And those people who are putting themselves out there to give them the real help, there's no help for them. They just slip between the cracks. And it's kind of, it just needs addressing. And I'm not going to fix that. I'm just not. But I can maybe filter a little bit of money, some good causes for them to do it. And by bringing the right professionals on board to guide our project, because, you know, the easy part is sticking a camera in front of somebody and asking them some questions. I'm not saying this is easy what we're doing. No, it takes some effort, doesn't it? It takes some organising, right? But that's the easy part of the documentary that we're doing. The insurance, the tax situation, the image right. It's a complicated process, and so we're bringing the right professionals. When we launched the project officially in April, we said we're going to take 3 months. I think we give ourselves to the 1st of August to build a really good team of professionals. Turn it away from being this DIY project to being a proper project, which is what we're doing. And honestly, it's a slog. It's a slog. I've got to be honest with you. It's hard work getting it done properly, but we're determined to do it. And we've got a legal team who we're working with, who are putting the right structure together for us. We've got a financial team who are doing the same thing to ensure that the money comes in and goes to the right people without me touching it, without, you know, the people who are doing the actual work. We just need to get that product done. And we need the professionals and the trustees who are coming on board to make sure everything goes where it's supposed to go. So, yeah, good.
Like you mentioned before with the, you called him Jim when he said that has straightened his life out. Even if it just helps one person, it's a success, isn't it?
There's no doubt about it, you know. There's absolutely no doubt about it. There was a couple of lads there on the launch night. So Anthony was a kid I worked with. Anthony was about as ADHD as I've ever met in my life. When he was 13, 14, he was brought into the school, which was full of 15 and 16-year-olds because the younger, they couldn't handle him. And he was an absolute nightmare. He was an absolute nightmare. And I just remember one day just putting a guitar in his hand, and he just started noodling a bit and it was like, it was his medicine. It was like, that's all he needed. He just needed a little amp, a guitar, and a quiet space just to, you know, people with ADHD are bursting with energy and bursting with creativity. And you just need to, I don't mean harness. Harness is not the right word at all. They need an outlet. They need somewhere to get that creativity out there. You move on a few years, Anthony stopped smashing everything up, stopped pissing everybody off. And he's now like a peer-to-peer mentor. He works, you know, guiding younger people. He's working with us, with our foundation. We had Aziz Ibrahim. I don't know if you know Aziz. He was an amazing guitarist. Simply Red, Stone Roses, done all Ian Brown stuff and all that sort of stuff. Incredible guitarist. And this was at a time in when would it be, 2021, I think it might have been. It was one of the lockdowns anyway. We were everything had to be, you know, to save space, distance, all that kind of stuff. We did everything we could to do things right. Aziz was he was like a lot of creative people at that time. He was struggling because he couldn't perform, couldn't earn, like a lot of people in the creative industry at that time. And you know, I think he'd tell you he was struggling a little bit at the start of the interview. By the end of it, him and Anthony, this lad who's now, I think at the time he's maybe 19 then, are just having a conversation. and they're talking about their lives. And there was so much crossover in their lives. And weirdly, Aziz starts interviewing Anthony, asking him the questions that he's just been asked by Phil, who does the interviews for the documentary. And the answers were just the same. It was just like everything that Aziz was talking about with his upbringing and all the rest of it. And it's just like, God, it's just people, isn't it? It's all it is, and the connection. And there's some beautiful footage of those two playing guitars. One's Anthony's playing Manchester's guitar, the guitar. Aziz is playing my acoustic guitar, and they're just playing together. And you just think, what an absolutely beautiful moment. And for Anthony, you see him now. He's just applied to go to university, and I've been doing his application with him, and it's just like, what an amazing turnaround for a lad that had been written off. And I know that over time, he's already paid it forward, but I know over time he'll pay that back as well. I know that he will do the right things for himself, grow up a bit, get some move on a bit in life, but he will help young people. He will help young people like him who was struggling. And you just think, like you said, if you just help one person, and make a difference in that person's life, and then they can make a difference in another person's life. I mean, that's it. It's worth it, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. It all sounds brilliant. I think it's a great thing that you're doing. But just back to the documentary, when will that be out? Do you know yet?
Yeah, so we've set ourselves despite the fact we've been filming for 4 years, we had a real. I got cancer, and I was absolutely out of it for about a year probably. And without my kind of energy, without my drive, I think everybody thought it was just going to stop, really. But I'm better. I'm not well. Still got the illness, but I am healthy. Look at me, and I just thought, right, I don't think I'm really ever going to be able to do a full-time job again. I think why not I just do this? Just focus on this. It's good for my mental health. It's good for my sanity. So I thought, when's a realistic, ambitious but realistic target to get it done by? And the 50th anniversary of that Lesser Free Trade Hall gig, the infamous one with Sex Pistols, Buzzcocks, etc., is the 4th of June 2026. So I looked it up. It's a Thursday. I thought that's a good day to launch a movie. So we're going to get it done and finish and out by the 4th of June 2026. It's not about that gig, but that gig certainly was a huge shot in the arm for Manchester's music scene. So in a way, it's a nice way to celebrate it 50 years on. So that's what we're going to do.
Yeah, that sounds brilliant. What is the left then for like between now and that date? What have you got left to film, and what else do you want to do?
So we've filmed about 30 people so far. With the list of people that we want to film, massive, and nobody said no. Nobody said no. But organising anything is difficult. You've not just got the artists. You've got got their own schedule in terms of, the record companies, the PR. In order to get everything organised, it's quite tricky. Even though you don't need that much time, it's still quite tricky to pin people down. So we've got to fit in with them. There's a few gigs that we're going to go to where there's 4 or 5 bands playing, and we're going to try and get them all done in one go. For example, some will come to our studio, and we'll get everybody filmed that we're going to film by March of next year, and then that gives them about a year to do the edit, and then about 3 months to promote it and then launch it.
Yeah, brilliant.
Yeah. The long-term ambition. Obviously, the idea of this one guitar that's played by everybody. I was talking to sounds all flash. This was talking to a Hollywood producer who just went, "Fucking hell, I want to do America's guitar." what, one guitar that everybody plays. And it's like, well, that's, once we've done Manchester's guitar, that's kind of the blueprint, blueprint really. And yes, everything that Manchester's guitar does is going to be about raising money and raising awareness and funds for Greater Manchester. But that's our kind of altruistic thing. I think longer term, we're going to a franchise would be the kind of closest word, I think, to what we're going to do. So we've already, and the guitars are in my living room now. We've already got had a guitar made for Liverpool. We've had a guitar made for Scotland. We've got a guitar made for Yorkshire, and we're just gonna help people do their own version in their own way, telling their own story with their own people. And they can all learn from kind of all of the expensive mistakes that we've made and all the stuff, everything that we've learned really. And ultimately, why wouldn't there be a Germany's guitar, Australia's guitar, America's guitar, whatever, So we'll see. But one step at a time. Manchester's guitar. Manchester's leading the way, as usual.
It'll be brilliant though to see it go like you say, it could go all around the world. Could it?
It really could, yeah. There was a little festival called Buckle and Boots. It was kind of West Country, Western music. It's very popular at the moment, isn't it? And so there was loads of guys there from Louisiana, and they're all like, "Fucking hell, we've got to do this. This is absolutely right. Of course, why wouldn't we do this? It's like, why wouldn't we have one guitar?" I'm like, "Well, hold your horses, mate. Let's do it. Let's do it properly. Let's do it properly." So we'll see. We'll see where it goes. So yeah.
Yeah, exactly. You did an event in April at Mank Disco. How did that go?
Oh, so what that was about, and thank you so much for Leo B. Leo B. Stanley, and on the sixth day God created Manchester.
Oh yeah,
right? Yeah. So he designed it, which was a T-shirt that he sold in Affleck's Palace, which has become then a mosaic, which has become a real Manchester kind of motto, really. So he designed a poster for us, and on the sixth day God created Manchester's guitar. And it's proper cool, I'm not joking. So we've got a very, very, I do mean very limited. There's only 7 posters, there's only 7 T-shirts, 7 hoodies and all the rest of it. They're going to be expensive then, but we're going to sell them at some stage. And Leo's a DJ, so he said, "Look, I'm your DJ, whenever you need me." Doesn't charge us, we just get him a beer or whatever, and he doesn't charge us. And what we said was we're going to road show the Manchester Guitar Project all around Greater Manchester. And we're just going to have a Mank Disco. And it's just literally Leo spinning all of the sing-along Mank anthems. It's nothing clever. It's not a clever set. It's all about every song that you know most of the words to. And everybody just having a sing and a dance and doing it together. So, not 19 forever. It's fucking anthem. Manchester, go for it. And it's just fun. Proper fun. So the idea is we're going to roadshow the project so everybody gets to understand what it is that we're doing. We're going to take the guitar with us so people can get a little bit of merch, some stuff they can buy and everything. Cheap ticket, £5 or something, and into the Mank Disco, raise a bit of money, and it'll go towards a project of producing the documentary. So yeah.
Is anybody watching that wants to support the project and the charities? How can they do so?
Yeah, so we've got a website which is pretty basic today, but obviously that's going to develop. In fact, I'll put a call out now. We do need help with day-to-day social media advertising. We're all old bastards and we're shit at it, so we could do some of it. Yeah, and if anybody's got some web skills in terms of design and all the rest of it, we could do with some help on that immediately today, just to get a few things that that are in place but are a bit shit. But if you go to mcrsguitar.co.uk, so Manchester's mcrsguitar.co.uk, just go on there, contact us. There's contact forms on us. We need help to get this done, but also it's not just about the help that we need; it's about the opportunities for people to get involved. So I mentioned about the social media. So if somebody's got some experience, or they've got a budding career, or they want, get in touch with us. Absolutely. If you're interested in lighting, if you're interested in sound production, if you're interested, get in touch. We are. It's an open society for us. This is You know, if you've got some skills and you've got some time and energy and you want to commit to it, get in touch with us. There's lots of work to be done. And ultimately, we will raise quite a lot of money. We'll develop a beautiful piece of art, and the community project, well, that's just Manchester, isn't it? It's just who we are. It's what we do. So that's it.
Yeah, well, like I've said many times, I think it's a brilliant cause. I think it's brilliant what you're doing in, like, taking your own time out and for no expense or anything. You're just doing it solely for the cause. I think it's brilliant. If there's anything I can do to help out or anything at all, just please let me know.
Yeah, well, we'll come back on. If we come back on and update you, and maybe we'll bring a little bit of footage along for you. You can stick it into your cast as well. Just as we go, as we're developing it. We'd like to come back, tell you a bit more.
Yeah, definitely. I'd love that. Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
Perfect, yeah.
Well, thank
All
you for
right.
that, David, and I hope it all
You're
goes
welcome.
well.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks a lot, mate.
Thank you. See you.
See you now. Ta-ra, bye-bye.